When it comes to fantasy football, there's never an offseason, especially if you're in a dynasty league. That's why we're talking about some buy low candidates with SI fantasy football analyst Michael Fabiano. And Fabs, you got a whole list in your article, but I want to talk about two running backs to start. Who are these buy low guys?
Well, let's start off with Joe Mixon. Coming off a disappointing season, right? He had that foot injury, Bill, and it didn't seem like it was serious. And then 10 games later, the season's over and Mixon was done. But let's keep these things in mind. He's 24 years old. So he hasn't even gotten to the prime of his career yet. And in two of his NFL seasons, he's had over 1,400 total yards and at least 8 touchdowns. The offensive line should be better through the draft, hopefully. Joe Burrow will be back. And Mixon was also on pace to post a career best in catches last year before he went down with the injury. So Mixon is a guy who some people may be soured on. I would jump on them right now and offer him a trade. And Ronald Jones in Tampa Bay, and I get it. He was overshadowed by Lombardi Lenny and playoff Lenny and all the Lennys. Lenny was great, but Lenny is a free agent. I'm talking, of course, about Leonard Fournette. He's a free agent going into 2021. If Tampa Bay doesn't bring him back, well, Ronald Jones is going to be the starter. And keep in mind, early in the season, Rojo was the guy. And he had a nice 3 or 4 week stretch where he was putting up really good fantasy numbers. He also, per fantasy data, ranked an impressive 8th among running backs in yards created. That's pretty good. And he's only 23 years old. And LaShawn McCoy either will be gone or retire. You've got Keyshawn Vaughn there. But if Fournette is gone, Ronald Jones is a very nice pickup, a young running back in a potentially explosive offense with the GOAT under center, Tom Brady.
Ronald Jones, Joe Mixon, two buy low candidates at running back. Let's move over to wide receiver. Who do you have your eyes on?
DJ Moore, this past season, he didn't put up the numbers we were kind of hoping that he would. He was actually third in fantasy points among Carolina wide receivers, right? Robbie Anderson, Curtis Samuel, both better than him. But he did actually put up better yardage totals than in his 2019 season. His reception totals went down. Here's why I like him. Number one, he's a young guy. He is still not even close to the prime of his career. And Curtis Samuel's a free agent. So if he goes, well, that's 97 targets that opens up. And Carolina's also looking to upgrade at the quarterback position. So Moore, while his value is down, could be a nice dynasty option in terms of a trade. And then I'm going with Michael Gallup here of my beloved but pitiful, at least last year, Dallas Cowboys. And we saw his numbers decline across the board. And that wasn't a shock because, well, they drafted CeeDee Lamb. And CeeDee Lamb is a tremendous wide receiver who is going to be the Cowboys' number one at some point. Could that happen, say, in 2022, right? Amari Cooper is under contract, but at that point, the Cowboys can get out of that contract and not have any salary cap implications, which means that Lamb could be the one, and you got a guy like Michael Gallup who's got a 1,000-yard season in the NFL on his resume, could be the number two at a cheaper price, assuming Dak Prescott's going to be the long-term quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, unless something crazy happens and it's Russell Wilson, but who knows? At this point, whoever's throwing the football for the Cowboys is going to be likely Dak Prescott. And if Gallup ends up earning the number two spot, assuming they go away from Cooper after 2021, that is a very nice trade acquisition for a futures pickup.
So here we are in March, and we're still a couple months away from the start of the NFL season. But if you're in a dynasty league, you'll want to start getting those trade conversations going right now. You also have players that you should sell high. That's in another article, and you can check it all out by going to Sports Illustrated, si.com/fantasy.